INTP. Dear Sweet Summer Lamb. The soul vampire thing didn't work out, so now you're aiming for the dictator. And I don't blame you. INFJs are great. ENTJs are also great. Fortunately for you, I've boiled down a pretty simple system for locating and identifying ENTJs. And I even have a few little ENTJ isms you may find useful. Most ENTJs I've met, including the rare chill ones, seem to be in an eternal battle against whomever they could be, their ideal selves. And many always find themselves lacking. Hence, their obsession with productivity and efficiency. So, when looking for ENTJs, this is not the only place to find them, but when looking for ENTJs, look for organizations doing something. Meaning, you are likely to find an ENTJ at. You're more likely to find an ENTJ at, say, a writer's workshop, even though that doesn't sound stereotypically ENTJ, than you are screwing around at a rave or something. If you're really young in high school, say, look for teams, look for organizing teams, student body, sometimes even adult-oriented work you can find young ENTJs doing, and probably doing better than most adults. This goes for college as well. Organizations, or organizations they can attend to improve themselves. If they're adults, workshops, classes, the gym, maybe bars are one that I am ambivalent about. Because, on one hand, if you ask ENTJs if they go to bars often, most will tell you no because just going to get drunk is inefficient and a waste of time. But at the same time, those exact same ENTJs will go to bars with their friends for camaraderie and bonding and to let their hair down. So, tentatively put bars on the list, but I wouldn't. That wouldn't be a go-to. Organizations that are doing something. Conferences. Academic conferences. Or business conferences. Places people go to do things. Usually an ENTJ will have a purpose, an aim, or a goal in life. So they put themselves in organizations to help them achieve those goals. Look there. So, you're in an organization now, you're looking for your ENTJ. What should you look for? Almost every ENTJ will tell you they walk fast, and they pride themselves on walking fast. And that's a good way to notice them, because they're just the fastest walkers. But I don't know about you, but I don't approach people randomly based on their gait. And I can assure you, if you notice an ENTJ walking fast, even if they are an ENTJ, and you come up to them and you say, "Hey, you're walking really fast. I think you're part of this cognitive type I'm interested in. Can I have a conversation with you?" They might run or kill you or think you're insane, so don't do that. Don't look for the walking one, even if they do walk fast. I say that because they seem to suss out intentions very quickly, even if they're wrong. So, especially if they're unfamiliar with MBTI, if they can't tell you're genuine and you don't have a reason to be speaking with them in particular, they will either dismiss you or they'll distrust you and immediately throw up guards. Their eyes. You can tell an ENTJ by their eyes. Female ENTJs pretty much universally have shark eyes, predatory eyes. They look squinty, a little bit squinty. And they look like they know things they shouldn't know, or they look like they're scheming. Even when they aren't. Why? I don't know. It's a way to identify them. ENTJ males, I've noticed three different types of eyes. There's the dead-faced ENTJs who male ENTJs, they just look dead. They're expressionless, they have no expression. Their eyes aren't necessarily squinty, but they just look devoid of emotion. Then there's the second type of male ENTJ eyes. Squinty like female ENTJ eyes, but meaner. They don't look like they're scheming, they look like they're gonna kill you. It's unsettling. But that's a good way to notice them. Third one, excited. There are two types of ENTJs. There are the quiet ones. The ones who don't speak. Those are the ones typically who have the I'll kill you eyes or dead face. They're very perceptive. They measure their words. They don't speak because they know people could misinterpret them, or in this big fight, speaking too much gives away valuable strategic information. Quiet ENTJs. Then there are the loud ENTJs, who speak a lot, they're very excited, they want to shake your hand and get things done. They have excited eyes. Squinty, yes, but not dead and not murderous. At least not necessarily. Rick from NT Support is one of the few excited, happy ENTJs I've seen, even if he is unhappy. Most ENTJs I've noticed are damaged people, generally. If you're looking for an ENTJ male, you're better off looking for the guy you think is an INTJ. Another tell. ENTJs dress intentionally, even if they dress not super well, if that makes sense. So, they're not obsessed with, but so attuned with perceptions, the way people perceive them and the way they want to be perceived and what matters to them, values. They dress the part they want to embody. One ENTJ I knew made a point of wearing religious iconography because he was exploring religion. He made a point, a small point, but an intentional one. A prominent ENTJ wore suits every day, early in life, before he was prominent, because he wanted to feel as wealthy as he knew he would become. And he did. He made a point of it. That's what I'm saying. Look for someone who, not necessarily who dresses well, but dresses with intent. For the female example, I knew one female ENTJ who made a point of wearing a tiara sometimes. It never looked good, and it was low quality, and it never matched her outfit. But she wore it because she had a complex, and she wanted to feel royal, and figured she would be one day, and she made a point of it. Looked awful. Looked absolutely awful. But it's the significance. One ENTJ quote every single ENTJ I've known, I've heard say, has been, what's the significance of X? They see significance in everything, even when it isn't there. And if, well, you're an INTP, because of course you are, why else would you be here? They will assign significance to things you do that when you did them you meant nothing. For example, and you need to know this. They take things literally and seriously. They take significance, they put a special significance on significance. So when INTP, say, that thing you did was kind of annoying, they take that very seriously, and they'll probably hard adjust while getting annoyed that you said you were annoyed, when maybe you told them you were annoyed, but because you're an INTP, you weren't really annoyed, and you said it in passing. But they take it seriously because that's what they do. The extent to which you don't take what you say seriously, or when you say things tentatively, everything is subject to change, for them it's the complete opposite. They say exactly what they mean. And I mean that. They do not utter a word they don't mean or aren't aiming towards something, especially when interacting with you, dear sweet INTP. You don't pay attention to words, probably. You need to pay attention to everything they say to you. And you need to be very careful about... INTPs typically don't assign things significance. And even when we do, it really isn't that significant. Almost nothing in my life is significant. I've probably had 3 significant items I've taken seriously in my entire life. For them, everything is significant somehow, or it needs to be. Or if it doesn't need to be, then they'll assign it some way and make an assumption about you. So be yourself, but know that process is happening. Not just in their dress, but in everything. So, you're in an organization doing something, and you've spotted someone who grooms themselves intentionally, has sharp eyes, knowing eyes, scheming eyes, and seems to be working very intently towards something. Probably an ENTJ. How do you approach them? Well, not like INFJs. Work hard, kick ass, externalize your thinking, come out of your head. For some reason, it seems every type finds its first shadow function attractive. INTPs love TE. For some reason, ENTJs love TI. Use it. Speak. Show it in your work. And do all those things, they'll come to you. Now, if you're a female INTP looking for a male ENTJ, they will come to you. It'll be weird. They do this thing, they have so many different boundaries and contexts and circumstances. I don't know how they'll approach you. Female INTP, you figure it out. Male INTPs aren't as fortunate on that end. Male INTP, female ENTJ will not approach you expressly with romantic intent, probably. I've heard of it happening, but more likely she will develop a crush on you and drop hints that anyone else will notice, but your dense ass won't. So, pay attention to hints. Read up on hints. And if you've typed her as an ENTJ and she's dropping hints being most people don't talk to you, and don't notice you exist, she's one of the few people who will try to make small talk with you. Make the small talk, because again, male ENTJs will do the whole weird boundaries thing. Female ENTJs do the exact same thing. You can't go 0 to 100 with them the way you can an INFJ, for instance. You will, but there's some preliminary bullshittery you gotta go through. Or maybe you don't, I don't know. In my experience, that's how it works. They'll drop hints, they'll develop a crush, maybe they say something, maybe they don't, but they will absolutely compliment you and find reasons to talk to you or put themselves around you. Spatial awareness is so weird. INTPs, we don't notice it. We don't notice spatial awareness. We don't notice the little things. But they exist, as big picture as they exist in the moment, ENTJs do. It's all about the little things. And if you want a cheat code to upgrade your movement with them, and it sounds shallow, and it would be, I think, with any other type, but help them when they need help. When an ENTJ needs help, they want actions, in my experience, they want actions, not words. And actions always speak louder than words for them, to the point that I think they would distrust you if you told them you loved them. But if you did something or went out of your way for them, that is the equivalent. And for INTPs, that feels like cheating, right? All I have to do to make you like me is be useful and outgoing to people, or outgoing to you at least. We do that naturally and nobody ever notices. So, do that. They'll like it. They'll appreciate it in ways most people won't. Because most people let them down. One final thing, and this maybe applies more to female INTPs and male ENTJs, but what do you do when you find yourself in a professional or serious setting in which you're working with someone and you realize, oh my god, this other person who's being so helpful is an ENTJ, and I'm developing feelings for them. What do I do? Well, there are countless horror stories of telling them how you feel and them getting all cold and weird and nasty because you broke the professional boundary that they had set. So what you need to do, what I think you need to do, rather than saying, I want to take this further, you should address it, maybe, or maybe you don't. This one's a gamble. Many ENTJs seem very able to lie to themselves, as in, they will tell themselves things so they can function in situations they don't want to be in, or so they can feel better about themselves and hide insecurities they're afraid to face. So, gambling here, rather than saying, hey, I feel this way about you romantically, even though this is a professional setting, maybe take the approach of telling them, hey, I like or I appreciate your diligence, the care you've taken with me, and as a result of how well you've treated me, I think I'm beginning to develop feelings. Do you feel the same way? And even if they don't, they'll probably, and that even, I don't know if that would violate the professional boundaries that they had set, but they all seem to do it. I think doing it that way would let them say no, at which point you just drop it entirely, never talk about it again. And you can stop chameleoning, which is nice. And maybe they'll come back and like you after that once you stop chameleoning, because I notice INTPs, when they like ENTJs, they will conform themselves to them. But maybe they say yes, or maybe they reassess the situation, enable testing you bullshittery.exe, and then you go from there. I don't know. But don't let it fester, and if they say no, just be fine with it and be yourself. and give them some time, maybe, but feel comfortable if they don't come around. But you can at least stop chameleoning around them. And they usually like you best when you aren't chameleoning, I've found. Too much, actually. You always gotta chameleon just a little bit, boys. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Yes, we're going back to the old outro. No, I couldn't come up with a better one. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. This one was a little more in-depth than the INFJ one, because INTPs and INFJs just communicate so well. Eerily well, right? That it doesn't require as much work. Be careful around INFJs. Maybe be careful around the ENTJs, we'll see. If this screws up, I'm going after some ISTPs next. We'll see. But thanks again for watching, everybody, really. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.